Hey guys, how's it going? It is a very special day here today. We are here with Eoghain, Guinness Ambassador, and Christiana, our taste tester, and you guys are in for quite a treat. We're going to be sampling some fantastic beers from Guinness, and I'm excited for Eoghain to tell us a little bit more about it, so take it away.
Well, the first thing we have to do is get some liquid to lips. So, our first beer that we're going to sample is our Guinness Blonde American Lager. You might think, why do we call it American Lager?
Yes.
So, what are the 4 ingredients in beer? Putting you on the spot
barley, water, barley,
hops and yeast?
Yeah, yeast and hops, yeah.
I forgot love.
And love, and love.
So this is why we have her here.
She's very, very good. So we call this our American Lager because we use American water, we use American hops, and we use American barley. But hops, water, and barley don't make beer. So
We need the yeast.
we need yeast. So brewers make wort, yeast makes beer. So the yeast we use is our famous Guinness brewing yeast from St. James's Gate in Dublin. And we ship that to the United States and we use that to bring this beer to life. So, shall we have a little drop?
Yes, please.
There we go.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.
You want to tell us a little bit before you
So-
take a sip?
There's a nice little floral nose to it. So you're getting some of those
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest hops coming out in it. So we're able to see, like good American lagers, crystal clear. So let's take a little taste. It's bright, it's floral,
Yeah.
but we also use crystal malt. So when we use crystal malt in the brewing process, that gives us that lovely sort of biscuity finish to the beer.
I can taste it.
So a big thing about the beers from the Guinness Brewery is we want a balance. So we want a balance between our hops and we want a balance between our malt. So we use the crystal malt in this. That gives it that beautiful malted finish. So what do we think, ladies?
Delicious.
It's very smooth. It has like a little bit of a
It really is.
crispiness to it too.
It does have a crispiness to it. There's a nice level of carbonation. It plays well on your tongue. But yeah, this is something that we're very proud of. It's been out for almost 3 years now. And we have been brewing this in the United States in Latrobe in Pennsylvania. So at the old Rolling Rock Brewery.
Nice.
The thing about that is we want to be able to brew it ourselves. So we work with those guys and they're absolutely phenomenal. But what we're actually doing this year is we're going to build a brewery in Maryland.
Wow.
So yeah, that is going to be
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the first Guinness brewery in the United States in a long, long time. So we're building it just outside of Baltimore, Maryland, and that is going to be the new home of Guinness Blonde American Lager.
And will it be open to the public? Like, what's going to be happening there?
So we are going to open the brewery, and we're also going to have a barrel aging house there as well. That is going to be open to the public, hopefully at the end of this year or the start of next year. And we're going to have a tasting room there.
Okay.
And so that tasting room is going to be like our Open Gate Brewery, which we have at St. James's Gate in Dublin. And our Open Gate Brewery in Dublin, that is our playground for our brewers. So they can go in and they're charged with brewing new beers, finding new recipes, finding new styles. But because we've been around for so long, they can actually find old recipes and reinterpret old recipes and bring them back to life.
That's interesting.
So yeah, it's just an absolutely phenomenal spot. And again, that's open to the public as well. And you can go in and there's always a range of beers on tap there. And what they do is they'll try those beers out. If the public love them, we might see them come to the United States, like we see with our Guinness Blonde American Lager. And we're going to try this now in a minute, our Guinness Irish Wheat, which has a great story behind it too. And then there's some beers that will never leave the gates of Guinness.
Wow.
So it's just something it has to be seen to be believed, but it's absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
And you get to sit down, chat with the brewers,
Nice.
chat with our beer specialists there. We've just a phenomenal team.
Now, will that also be happening in the U.S. as well?
Yes, so that's what we're looking at.
The same thing, like
in
they'll be able
Maryland.
to chat with the brewers. Maryland, right? Okay, cool. And this is very light too. What's the ABV on this?
So most of our Guinness beers are
5%.
below 6%. So we're looking at 5 on this.
Yeah. Great summer beer.
Great summer beer.
And it transitions well into fall because it's very rich, but it's not weighty.
Correct.
It's not heavy.
Correct. So yeah, if you're watching a baseball game, you're at a barbecue, absolutely phenomenal. And our beers, because there is the balance between the hops and the malt, we find that they pair incredibly well with many, many dishes.
I was just going to ask you, what would you pair it with? I'm really big on pairings at the moment, so what would you pair this with?
Well, what you can do with this beer is it's very versatile. Like we talked about that great carbonation that's in it. So when we talk about carbonation in beer, we talk about cutting through fatty foods. So you can cut through a lot of fattier foods where you think of a burger on the grill.
It's a barbecue beer.
It's a barbecue beer.
I could totally see that.
But because of the lightness and there's a citrusness to it as well, you can also look at pairing it up with seafood, or even with just a nice zesty salad.
I was even going to say, I was thinking of like a pasta that has like a lemon zest kind of a dressing.
Yeah, you can do that. Some nice angel hair. It's gonna be lovely. Yeah.
Very nice. So what is the next beer that we're going to try?
Our next beer up is a very special beer that we just released. It's called Guinness Irish Wheat.
Okay.
So again, I'm all about liquid to lips. So let's pop
let's
this
do
one
that
open.
first. I like the way this man thinks.
Thank you.
So our Guinness Irish Wheat also comes from our Open Gate Brewery in Dublin.
Okay.
It is made with 100% malted Irish wheat. Nobody has ever malted Irish wheat on that scale in Ireland before. So this truly is a very, very special beer.
The color is beautiful.
Yeah, so we're looking at, it's like a classic German wheat beer. And we actually enlisted one of our brewers named Yasmin Winterer. And Yasmin is a German brewer and she works for the Guinness Brewery in Dublin.
Nice.
And so she brewed this phenomenal
Yasmin
beer.
brewed this.
Yasmin brewed this.
We like Yasmin.
Cheers to Yasmin.
Cheers to Yasmin.
So you're getting those nice floral, citrusy notes and banana.
Yeah.
Wow, yes, that's really fresh.
Wheat, definitely wheat, banana.
Yep, you're getting the phenols and esters there. You're tasting some clove as well. But this is just another beautiful golden summer beer. And these golden beers aren't something that people often associate with the Guinness Brewery.
Right.
Right.
This is a new direction.
Totally.
Not really. So we've been brewing many different styles of beer for a long, long time. So we started brewing in 1759. So we're 258 years into a 9,000 year lease. So we have a lot more beer to brew. And if you're only brewing one style of beer for all that, it'd be an awful boring time.
Right.
So we actually have a full portfolio of beers, and we brew many, many different styles for different parts of the world. And what we're doing is we're introducing these new beers to our US friends. And we're showing them...
Appreciate it.
Well,
We're happy
well, you're
now.
very welcome. But yeah, we're showing our credentials as a brewer to the US market, where people often think that we just brew one beer. We say that Guinness is the name of the brewery and not the beer.
Right.
So these are just some of the examples. But we have a little throwback with this beer as well, that on our label we have some of the classic Guinness artwork from our 1930s, 40s and 50s
This one right here?
marketing campaigns. Yes, this one right here. So you see that lovely little shiny sun that's on it?
Yes.
So that comes from some artwork called The Smiling Pint that was done by John Gilroy, who has created all of the famous, the menagerie as it's called, so the Guinness animals, so you know the toucan.
Yeah.
You go into any Irish bar or restaurant in the world and you're going to see elements of that and posters around. So this is just another throwback to that.
Interesting.
But yeah, people often joke about seeing the sun on an Irish beer, that they weren't used to seeing the sun. But,
Right?
You know, that's funny actually. I was in Dublin last summer and I think the sun came out for maybe 20 minutes and the entire city raced to the park. The entire city.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that park, it's like sort of Dublin's Central Park. It's St. Stephen's Green. And yes, people flock to that park when the sun is shining.
What month does this happen?
Usually a day. Summer happens, on a day in Ireland. It was on a Tuesday last year, yeah. But that park is actually something that we often talk about the goodness of Guinness. So Guinness is famed for its charitable work throughout the last 250 odd years. And so the Guinness family actually built St. Stephen's Green, so the main park in Dublin City.
No kidding.
And they gave it to the city of Dublin for free.
It's a good
Wow.
So yeah, so people are still using it today.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, it's something we're very proud of.
Yeah.
We always look after the people from the brewery, and we're very, very fortunate that the Guinness family felt that they owed it to everybody that was there. So
Wow.
yeah, it's something we're very pleased about, and indeed that's probably down to the longevity of the brewery now. And
Yeah.
we're 258 years in. We get to drink beautiful wheat beers. We get to sit here in lovely Los Angeles. I mean, there's not too many complaints, you know.
I agree. Now, question: the Guinness family. Are there any? Is there anyone still from the family that you guys know of, or that works there, or for the brewery, or at the brewery? Or is involved, I should say.
No, they some take part in the board, but
Okay.
but not in the day-to-day of the brewing anymore.
Okay.
But for generations they were involved.
Very
Arthur
cool.
1, Arthur 2, Benjamin Lee.
Arthur 1, Arthur 2.
Now
Yeah.
it's in the hands of the people.
Yeah.
Now it's in the hands of the people, but the people seem to be taking good care of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of Guinness?
Well, just like we talked about earlier, people think Guinness is this one just dark beer, but Arthur Guinness started out in 1759 actually as an ale brewer, and it wasn't until a number of years later that they began brewing the darker beers, and these beers were popular in style. They were a growing style in London at the time, and the beers were actually named after the people that drank it. So there were the people that worked down the docks, there were the people that unloaded the boats, and these guys were called porters. So that's where the
Love
name
that.
porter comes from. And so we began brewing porters, and the Guinness brewery is about quality and consistency. We want to make the best beers, and we want to make them consistently. So what happened was the porters began drinking this great beer from Guinness, and the Guinness brewery began to grow and expand. And then, just like tastes, we see here on the West Coast, people were drinking IPAs. The tastes evolved. They wanted double IPAs, triple IPAs. They wanted stronger beers,
Right.
bigger beers. So the same thing happened in the 17 and 1800s with porter. So they wanted a bigger porter. They wanted a stronger porter. So they wanted a stouter porter.
Interesting.
A stouter porter.
A stouter porter.
I
Say it
love
3 times
it.
fast.
So
I'm not gonna try.
stout porter then became stout, and that's really where the Guinness brewery
Interesting.
started to take off.
I like this.
So we
Very
began
cool story.
to brew porter. We then brewed stout, and we began to ship it around the world. So I mean, before Coca-Cola got out of Georgia, Guinness was available in over 100 countries. So we've been selling our beer around the globe for a long time. And actually this year in the United States, later on this year, we are going to celebrate our 200th anniversary in the United States.
Wow.
Yes, so
And where
by
is this celebration going to take place?
nationwide.
All of America,
Nationwide.
Very nice.
So
Who
yeah,
will
we
be
began shipping our beer to the United States in 1817.
Okay.
And Charleston was actually our first port of call. So it's
Big party in Charleston.
there's going to be a bit of a party in Charleston, I think. But yeah, it's something we're very proud of our history and heritage here in the United States, that we've been around for so long. And even post-Prohibition, when many of the great American brewers, they were cleaned out because of Prohibition, they couldn't survive it. The Guinness brewery was here, and
In the U.S.
in the US,
Well, I was just gonna ask, what were they serving? Because a lot of companies like Anheuser-Busch and whatnot, all those big guys were serving like beer with no, what was it called? They had different names for it. Basically, beer with no alcohol. They actually had a name for it. But what was Guinness serving?
well, Guinness wasn't here during Prohibition, but post-Prohibition, we were able to come back. You see, all of our beers brewed in Ireland, so we were
No way to ship it in.
we were selling our beer around the world.
Okay.
But a lot of the great American brewers of dark beer didn't survive Prohibition, and so there were a lot of lagers coming in.
Why? Okay.
So we kept, as we say, we kept the lights on for dark
Yeah.
beer in the US till Fritz Maytag and some great men started
Right.
brewing some phenomenal beers here in the United
Yeah.
States. And yeah, we we love the beers they brew, and so we're very pleased to be part of that heritage in the United States. That we could be part of it in that way.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for the history and all this amazing knowledge, and we're so looking forward to finding out about more beers that Guinness brews in the future and making it more known in the States.
Well, I'd love to come back and have a chat anytime.
Cheers.
Sláinte, you guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
What accounts for the difference in the shape and size of the bottles versus based on what's inside? How does that affect?
No real difference.
It's just for show, just for style?
Just for style, yeah. And these are bottled in Ireland, and these are bottled in the US.
These are,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And the long neck is more of a classic US style.
Right.
Whereas the short, squatter, like shoulder bottle.
Okay, so here's another question for you. I think this is coming from the hardcore Guinness fans out there. What could someone who is just a believer and a lover of Guinness, that stout, expect from a beer like this when, you know, they're, let's say, at a store and buying this and they're like, lager, like, why would I buy this? Versus, you know what I mean?
Well, so the famous Guinness stout that everybody knows and loves here in the United States, Guinness Draft Stout, it's our nitrogenated stout. So we were the first brewery in the world to ever use nitrogen when brewing and dispensing our beer. So that's what gives us a rich, creamy head,
Right.
like that velvety pillow top that you get on top of it. That beer was actually only first brewed in 1959. So that beer was released as a beer for our 200th anniversary.
I did not know that.
Every day is a school day. But another beer that was released that year was a lager, and it was called Harp Lager. And so you might wonder where the name Harp Lager comes from. Well, the Guinness trademark harp. So there's a harp on every bottle, there's a harp on every label of Guinness.
Interesting. Why don't people know this stuff?
Well, they need to talk to me more.
Yeah.
But so we've been brewing lager for a long, long time, and we feel that we just want to bring a new style of lager to the market. And just like we talked about earlier, that water, hops, and malt make wort, and wort's not beer. So that's what brewers make,
You need the yeast.
and we need the yeast.
Yeah.
And so that yeast is the same yeast that we use in our Guinness Draft Stout. So it's got the same beating heart that a pint of Guinness would have,
Okay.
but it's going to be a beautiful, light, refreshing lager.
Okay, so it's the same yeast.
The same yeast.
That makes a huge difference to understand that. So that's why now I can understand a Guinness fan would enjoy something like this versus obviously any other lager.
Correct. So you're going to get some of those familiar Guinness characters to it, but maybe
Okay.
not the same malty notes or
Got
the
it.
roasty notes, but the same beating heart.